Welcome back to NPTEL online certification course on novel drug delivery systems. I am Dr. Satish Devanapalli, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Technology, Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. In our novel drug delivery course, we have started with the mucosal and the nasopulmonary delivery systems. So, in our previous classes, we have discussed in very detail on the mucosal drug delivery systems. Today, we are going to focus on the nasopulmonary drug delivery systems. So, this is my flow of presentation. First, we will see what are the nasopulmonary drug delivery systems, and then we will see the structure of nasal cavity, and then we will focus on the advantages and the limitations. Then we will see the factors which will affect the nasopulmonary drug delivery systems. Then we will see the few formulation strategies will help for the improvement of the therapy by using the nasopulmonary drug delivery, and then we will focus some time on the nose to brain delivery. The nasopulmonary route is a fast, effective, non-invasive approach to deliver high concentration of the drugs to the lung. Now, try to remember which we discussed in our previous lectures. Oral mucosal formulations also, which are very fast in the onset of action and which are effective, non-invasive. But the limitation of that, there we cannot use high concentration of the drugs, right. So, when you going from the one route to other route, we will see various types of the advantages. So, here with this we can expect high concentration of the drugs to the lungs. So, this nasopulmonary pathway refers to the administration of the drugs through nasal route with the goal of achieving either local effect or systemic effect. So, same case we have seen in previous lecture in the buccal administrations. There we can expect local as well as systemic effect. Yes, the local effect will happen in the nasal passage and the sinuses, and whereas systemic action or systemic effect will happen after administration through nasal and pulmonary mucosa, and the drug will reach to the blood, then it will show the response. And why this is happening? Because of the lungs has the largest surface area and the abundance of capillaries in the alveoli and the thinness of the air and the blood barrier. So, that will help for the showing of the onset of action. Now, you can see the pictorial representation here. So, here is the nasal spray, okay, and here we will spray the nasal formulation through the nasal mucosa, and that will enter into it will show the action in two ways. Like first one is the local effect at the nasal site, and another side that will reach to the lungs, and there it will show the action through nasopulmonary route. So, here we can see where we use, why we need to use nasopulmonary route as in a drug delivery strategy. So, here we can see These are various formulations we can use for the treatment of the lung diseases by delivering the drugs, biopharmaceutical products and other types of the molecules. Now, you can see the how the various types of the microorganisms will infect, for example, tuberculosis, pneumonia, right. So, these may happen with the infection of from the microorganisms like bacteria, virus, and we know the COVID-19 also because of the viruses. So, to target such diseases like asthma with the corticosteroids, leukotriene inhibitors, nasal congestion, migraine and the hormone replacement therapies, and for the systemic delivery, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease by using the corticosteroids, the tuberculosis and the pneumonia with various types of the antibiotics, pulmonary hypertension, here we use vasodilators, and lung cancer we use various anti-cancer drugs, especially paclitaxel, right, and chronic bronchitis and cystic fibrosis. So, all this treatment need to be targeted by using the nasopulmonary delivery systems. So, we can make such drugs into the desirable format, either sprays in the powder format, in the aerosols which can deliver to the lungs to stop the infection or the inflammatory or the cancer. So, we need to convert our drugs into the desired formats. By using of some devices we can deliver the molecules into the lungs. So, here we will see the structure of nasal cavity and which will help for the absorption. So, as we discussed in introduction, which has a large surface area and the high vascularization. So, that will help for the rapid onset of action. And here the respiratory epithelium which will also help for the uptaking of the molecules into the alveoli. And the major one more issue which comes with the nasopulmonary, that is rapid mucociliary clearance. The time is very less. Within a 20 minutes the celiac bodies which will remove the formulations with the help of the mucus. So, that is also one of the major limitation, which also contain the enzymes that will degrades our molecules. But before developing the any type of nasopulmonary formulations, we need to consider all these pathology of the diseases and the physiology of the target system. So, then only we can make the good formulations. Now, here we will see some of the advantages of nasopulmonary drug delivery system. As we have discussing, yes, it will show the fast onset of action after administration from the nasal route, it will reach to the respiratory tract, and once it is reached and there the high vasculature is there and the drug follow different mechanism to absorb and then it will enter into the blood and it will show the action. So, we can avoid first pass metabolism which comes from the oral route, that we can avoid, it will help for the bioavailability enhancement. Yes, it is a non-invasive route, no need to use any type of needles as parenterals. Easy to administer with the minimal patient effort. you do not need a practitioner. So, medical practitioner is not required for the administration of the nasopulmonary until unless it is a very critical in the administration. Such cases practitioner is required. Patient complacency is very high because of the convenience, and you can target, that is a one great advantage, you can target the lungs via nasal route and offers direct brain delivery through olfactory region. This we will see in our upcoming slides in nose to brain delivery. So, some of the limitations also there for the nasopulmonary drug delivery. So, disease condition can reduce drug absorption. So, there are the, when you have a nasal secretion, continuous secretion like suffering with the cold and such conditions, you cannot deliver the formulations through nasopulmonary route. And there are the nasal infectious diseases or some inflammations, such cases we cannot go ahead with the nasopulmonary routes. And nasal irritation, that is possible because mucus is there and you cannot give like various high concentration of surfactants, right. So, that is one of the limitation for the nasal drug delivery systems, because your formulation or your drugs or excipient may irritate your nasal mucosa. And yes, this very small absorption area as we discussed in case of oral mucosa when compared with the GIT tract. Short residence time because of the mucociliary clearance, this can be avoided by using some viscous formulations or by using in situ type of gelling systems. We can also avoid the short residence time. Possibility of inaccurate dosing in certain forms. For example, when you are using the solutions or some sprays, because there you will these are which not come in the as a unit dosage form. You will spray, but because of various conditions your dose may not deliver accurately. So, such cases we will prefer the meter dose inhalers or some other unit dosage form which will deliver the accurate dose. Formulation limitation for unstable and sensitive drugs. So, there are the drugs which are unstable, we cannot convert into the desired formats into like dry powder inhalers and otherwise in the inhalation format. So, such cases very difficult to deal with such drugs. Now, here we will discuss one more new one, that is the formulation considerations for nasopulmonary delivery. So, here we are going to discuss on the factors which are related to the physicochemical properties of the drug. So, the important point here is the lipophilicity, which is very important, that will help for the permeation, which will improve the nasal mucosa permeation. So, the higher lipophilicity is preferable for the permeation, that need to be optimized. And then chemical forms. So, because most of the drugs are available in the esters, salts, crystal form and amorphous forms, which may definitely affect the solubility and the absorption, because crystalline drugs are water insoluble, that need to be converted into the amorphous form. Otherwise, we need to provide some formulation which can enhance the solubility. So, definitely that will leads to the improvement in the bioavailability. So, molecular weight of the drug also is very important. For lipophilic drugs, higher the weight may increase the penetration. As we know, the Lipinski rule of 5, which suggests that your molecule should be the below 500 Daltons, which will help for the permeation. So, under 300 Dalton it will allow for the permeation. Solubility dissolution also is very important in the aqueous medium, and definitely your drug need to be dispersed, or that should be having wettable property in the nasal mucosa, in the nasal secretions also, because that is very important for the absorption. Yeah, factors related to the formulation. So far we have discussed on the physicochemical properties of the drug. Now there are the formulation factors which will help for the betterment of the nasopulmonary delivery systems. So here, as we know that pH is very important parameter, as per the guidelines suggests that your nasal formulation pH should be 4.5 to 6.5 to avoid the irritation and improve the absorption, and the pH of the nasal secretion also will be around 5.5 to 6.5. So, that need to be maintained in your finished dosage forms. And second point is osmolarity is very important, that is to maintaining of the isotonicity, that need to be maintained 300 to 700 milliosmolarity per kg. So, that is preferable. If you use any type of like hypertonic or hypotonic solutions, that leads to the damage of the cells. When you use hypotonic, your cell undergo the shrinkage, and here in case of hypo, your cell will undergo hemolysis. So, this need to be avoided. So, you need to take isotonic solutions. So, the concentration of your formulation should be equivalent to the concentration of the biological fluids. And viscosity, this is very important parameter, because that is going to play major role in the permeation. How? As the formulation viscosity increases, the formulation becomes more difficult to atomize after administration. This leads to larger droplets, narrower spray plum, and we will see in the smaller spray area. So, the viscosity need to be optimum, but there are the advantages. When you increase the viscosity, that will inhibit the effect of the ciliary beating in the mucociliary clearance. So, that will stop the mucociliary clearance. With that, we can increase the residence time, that will help for the positive diffusion for more time, and ultimately it will help for the higher the availability of the drug in the blood. So, that is why we need to focus on these parameters. And the another parameter, that is the particle. The size, shape, density, charge of the particle is also very important, because the particles will settle based on their size, based on their shape, and based on the charge. Because the scientists suggested the three different mechanisms which will involve for the particle deposition in the respiratory tract. So, here the first one is the inertial impaction. Inertial impaction. Now, we will see the large particles, you can see in the blue color, right. So, dark blue, right. So, after administration, which is entering into the trachea and then bronchi and then bronchioles, right. So, the particle is flowing, right. So, it is impacting on the bronchioles, right. So, that is called as inertial impaction. So, this will happens with the large particles, right. So, that will trap in the upper airways, or there are the cases your particle may deposit if the size is very less within 1 to 5 micrometer. Now, the second principle is sedimentation. So, it works based on the Brownian sedimentation. So, again you can see here in the another picture, right. So, your particle will deposit, or you can say settle down with the gravitational sedimentation. Now, you can see the medium size of particles will undergo the sedimentation mechanism. And the third one, the diffusion. So, here the Brownian diffusion, that will very small molecules which will enter into the deeper layers of the lung, right. So, that will happen because of the very less in the particle size. You can see the below 1 micrometer the pulmonary alveoli through the diffusion, and there are the carriers if you use that may also involve in the other types of the mechanism, right. And the one more mechanism is electrostatic deposition. So, based on the charge it will settle at the different places of the pulmonary system. So, if you want to know more on this, you can refer these articles, and that will help for the understanding of the various strategies. Now, here the formulation strategies. Now, we know, as we discussed in our introduction, these are the first line drugs, second line drugs, various antibiotics, anti-cancers that need to be incorporated into various types of system. Now, you can see here various types of the advanced drug delivery systems, which are the combinations of the polymers, lipids, and also inorganic materials, right. So, and not only that, there are the engineered antigens also you will see. So, we need to encapsulate into this, and then if you give it to the patient, so definitely we can expect the target delivery, such nanosystems or targeted delivery systems. So, what are the advantages with these formulation strategies? We can expect the drug targeting definitely by using the nanocarriers, and we can also reduce the adverse drug reactions, and there are the TB, it will create the multi-drug resistance, such case also we can use. We can also reduce the dose, we can improve the therapy, and also we can expect the control release. The ultimately we can enhance the patient compliance with the targeted or advanced drug delivery systems. And one more, the major limitation I can say in this way, because these nasal and the pulmonary routes, they need a device to deliver the drugs. So, then only it will reach the target site and will show the faster therapeutic action, and yes, high patient compliance is there. But the major requirement here it is that we need a device to deliver the drugs. We need the nebulizers, we need dry powder inhalers, meter dose inhalers, or soft mist inhalers. So, these are the total 4 types of the devices we can deliver the drugs through nasal to pulmonary, and also from the pulmonary route also we can utilize these types of the devices which will improve or which will deliver the drugs to the lungs. So, there is a mandatory requirement of the devices. So, here the based on their physical forms we can use various types of the devices. Here in case of nebulizer we prefer for the liquid formulations, and maybe here the solution, the volume will be high, such cases we can prefer, especially in case of children's we prefer the nebulizers, and these are simple for the cold, and such case we can also use nebulizers. And also we can also use for the even for the treatment of asthmatic drugs also. The dry powder inhalers, here we will convert the drug into the powder form, because your drug may not stable in the liquid, and you can take NM like unit dosage forms. The capsule can be filled into that container, and once it is rotated, it will generate the powder, and here in the mouthpiece you can inhale the products. So, and third one is the meter dose inhaler. So, here with this we can deliver the accurate dose, whereas other cases we cannot promise the maximum or accurate amount of the dose, but meter dose inhaler, when you actuate, it deliver the measured amount. So, with this we can deliver the accurate dose. And here the soft mist inhalers. So, these are the like easy to portable, and they are the handy, and the cost also very high. So, here you can see the comparison of these devices. You can see here the various parameters, power source, portability and other parameters are there. You can see the jet nebulizers, mesh nebulizers, soft mist inhalers and meter dose inhalers and the dry powder inhalers. So, these are the various devices just for understanding how it looks like. So, it works on the various power sources, and the portability, as I mentioned, it is portable and is restricted because the weight will be very high. So, most of them are portable, and the noisy level, noisy, and the other are quiet. You can see the residual volume here. We can use up to 0.8 to 2 ml and very less, and then here is there is no residual volume here. Dose variability is very high because we are putting in a liquid and that need to be nebulized. So, the important parameters is the multi-dose. Here, yes, there is not possible, we have to use it one time, but whereas SMI we can expect the multi-dose, and dry powder variable we can sometime it comes in a single and also multi container. Cost of medication is very less, and the less, and it will be very high because of their devices, and we use such drugs which are very costly. Cost of device also you can see these are all very low, and you can say this one is the medium to high and again medium. If you want to know more on these details which are provided in this review article. So, these are the various formulation strategies. Here we can use gels, drops, sprays, nasal powders, nanoparticles and microspheres. So, these are the key features, these are the some important points, okay. So, which will help for the nasopulmonary routes. And here one last topic, that is the nose to brain delivery. So, we know that for the treatment of various CNS and other types of the diseases like neurodegenerative, brain cancer, psychosis, epilepsy and dementia, such therapeutic efficacy is limited, and which causes various systemic side effects with the current existing the therapeutic strategies. Because one more major drawback of the current treatment, because we cannot reach the molecules into the brain, or you can say the target sites. You may give oral route or parenteral route or some other routes, but the drug will not reach to the blood. So, into the brain site. So, here you can see the brain function which contains very tight junctions and which will not allow the drugs to enter into the brain. Now, you can see this is a blood brain barrier. So, the drug is here and it cannot pass from the tight junctions, whereas in the normal blood vessels that will easily can move or which will go into the target sites. So, these tight junctions will not allow the drugs to reach the target, but there are the systems, for example, nasal routes, or you can say nose to brain delivery. With this we can reach the target directly and having non-invasive route, because of the one interesting thing, that is olfactory epithelium. When you spray any product through nasal cavity which will bypass the blood brain barrier, this can be entered into the target site, into the brain via two routes. One is the olfactory epithelium, second is the trigeminal epithelium, or you can say trigeminal nerves. With that we can reach the target by using nose to brain delivery. The detailed mechanism is mentioned here. The nasal cavity, when you spray, it undergo the olfactory epithelium and also the respiratory. Third, it can be replaced by the mucociliary clearance. Again, in the olfactory, it follows the paracellular transport, transcellular, and the olfactory nerve and the trigeminal nerve strategy. And with this, it will enter into the blood brain barrier, but the percentage via respiratory and then blood to brain is very less, and here you can expect high amount of the drug in the brain target. So, by using of olfactory and trigeminal pathway, we can avoid the first pass metabolism, also we can bypass the blood brain barrier problems. And these are the some of the formulation approaches. Here you can see, with by implementing this we can develop a successful nose to brain delivery formulations. We need to focus on the surface charge of the drugs, lipophilicity, molecular weight, size, drug stability, and the delivery device also will impact for the reaching of the molecule, right. So, also we need to focus on the patient parameters, the proper use of the device and the mucociliary clearance, pathological condition, anatomical differences, and also the neurological structure involved for the treatment. So far we have discussed on the various nose to brain delivery strategies, and by using the nanoparticulate delivery systems, by using of polymers, lipid based, inorganic, and the nanocrystals, with that also we can improve the nose to brain delivery of various molecules to treat CNS and other brain cancer and other neurodegenerative diseases. So far we have discussed the nasopulmonary routes of administration, we have discussed the importance of nasopulmonary pathway, and also we have discussed advantages, disadvantages, and then we have discussed various approaches, formulation strategies, and then we have discussed on nose to brain delivery. So far we have discussed in a week on mucosal drug delivery and the nasopulmonary drug delivery systems. With this we are going to stop today's lecture. In our upcoming classes we will going to discuss on the other novel strategies which are involved for the treatment of various diseases, and we will hopefully we will discuss on the ocular drug delivery systems. Thank you so much.